Hey guys, welcome back. Eric Smith here, 5 Reasons Sports Network contributor and co-host of Scouting the Fins. And we're back with our second UDFA offensive lineman for the Miami Dolphins, and that's going to be Tedi Kushi. Kushi is 23 years old. He was born September 20th, 2001, and that means that he is going to turn 24 pretty early in his rookie season. And you'll see him mention being from Western Michigan, and that is true. But my daughter, who does a great job with my YouTube graphics, pulled an image of Cushy from Long Island University. He enrolled in Long Island in 2019, spent 4 years there, including a redshirt season, and played in every game in 2021 and 22. In 2022, he was named first team All NEC and also awarded the Phil Steele NEC OL of the Year. In March of 2023, he entered the transfer portal and passed up an offer from Appalachian State and transferred to Western Michigan. In 2023, for Western Michigan, he started 10 games. And then in 2024, he started all 13 games for Western Michigan. He earned Academic All MAC Team, NFF Hampshire Society Honor Roll, and CSC Academic All District Honors. So, similar to the accolades that we discussed on Josh Preeb, it's very obvious that intelligence is high on the priority list when looking at offensive linemen in this system. All right, that's enough with the background stuff. Let's take a look at how he performs between the lines. All right, we're going to start our film review looking at zone run plays to Cushy's side. So he's going to be your left tackle, number 73 here. And on this one, you can see that he does a good job, right? Off the snap of the ball, right? That left foot drops a little bit, opens the hips at a 45-degree angle. No threat in his play side gap. So now he's getting vertical and helping that guard to get around. And you can see that they're working up to number 10 here. And that, does a good job. No reason to leave that block. Keeps working through it and then seals off that linebacker on the way. Next one here facing you, very similar idea. This time, instead of sticking with the defender, you see a bit of a ricochet technique. So he, off the snap of the ball, right, opens up the hips the same way to protect that play side gap. Nothing there, so he knows that he can help backside. And you see him, getting the hand on the shoulder. And then you see the extension where he's basically using that defender to ricochet off to the linebacker, and that allows the guard here to get around that defensive tackle, and then Cushy's climbing up to the linebacker and taking him out of the screen. Facing you again, now this time, right, he's taking that same step, that same open step 45, but now he's got a play side gap threat, right? So now he is going to try to block him. Does a good job working to that outside half. That defender tries to shed it to the inside, and Cushy does a solid job of being able to flip those hips and get around, right? That's, pretty high level play there of being able to get the hips around and seal the defender. A lot of times you'll see, these bigger offensive tackles, he's 6'7", over 300 pounds, kind of fall off of that block. So nice job there to be able to adjust. Again, same idea here. Now this time, right, opening up, running play side, that defender widens out, so Cushy just stays with him, right? And then that is the tight end and Cushy. Because we have a lead blocker, right? Number 6 is leading to the outside linebacker out here, right? That means that, this tight end is treating it as if he's uncovered. So the combo block is between the tight end and Cushy up through this defensive end to number 40. And that's what we get here, right? Tight end's trying to get around. Cushy's getting in there. And you can see that they are able to work to that linebacker. Nice combo block there. And then last one for the zone 2, right? Now on that one, right, this is a good job here. This is split flow action, which means that the tight end, wing, whatever you want to call him, is coming back across to get this defensive end on the backside, which means that Cushy, his play side accountability, right? He'd be considered covered in this sense, would have number one, but off the snap of the ball, one slants to the inside, right? And we don't want to chase stuff backside on the zone runs. You have your guard in here who is also uncovered, right? So number one is slanting back into the gap for number 51, right? And you see that, I mean, he takes himself out of the play, but Cushy does a good job of, basically creating a wall and helping to work up through there. And all three of these guys created a nice wall. I'm not even sure why that running back is looking to cut back. He should have hit it straight through there. But just a good job of not, taking the bait, going back inside. If Cushy chases this defender back inside, then 40 is probably scraping down the hill and making the play there. So just a good high level IQ type play there. And now we're going to look at the flip side of that. So this is going to be when the zone run is going away. You can see on this one, they are essentially outnumbered in the box. So you have this split flow action. The split flow is going to take care of number one here, right? If we follow the combo blocks across there, then what we're going to get is the right tackle is a solo on the defensive end. Your guard and your center are comboing through the three technique up to this linebacker, and then your left guard, left tackle comboing through the one tech up to number 10. And you see here that Cushy maybe gets a little too far there. He didn't need to help that much, but does a good job of being able to rebound and seal off that linebacker. Now, the tight end coming across needs to be able to get a better block on the defensive end there. But from Cushy's perspective, this was a pretty good job. Definitely did the job here and a solid job of flipping the hips and getting back around. Again, backside here, right? So now this is more of just a, no split flow action. So we're more of a true outside zone. So we're getting a solo block out here. We're getting a combo block with the right guard and center up to number 40. And then the left guard, left tackle are going to combo through the tackle up to number 10, right? And you can see that Cushy does a really good job of, working to get in front. He doesn't get all the way there, right? In a really tough block, right? He's got an inside shade there. You can see how tight they're making the splits to try to help themselves. In a perfect world, he gets his head across and is able to, either seal him or get, some really good vertical push. But if you watch where we finish, right, by the time we're looking at that defender even being part of making the play, right, we are 5 yards downfield. His heels are starting on the yard marker here, right, and just watch where we are. We're almost 5 yards downfield, right? So even though he's not getting that cutoff block, the effort, the strain is creating that vertical movement that's going to allow that play to be successful. And then last one here for the zone away, similar idea here, right? So on this one, looks as though we're getting the solo block here, combo block up to number 40, and then same combo here. Your left guard, left tackle, comboing through the defensive tackle up to number 10, right? But in this case, that defensive tackle, for whatever reason, is flowing opposite when everybody else is flowing to the play side. So it creates, I don't want to say an easy block for Cushy, but, he's working through that. Once he sees that, we're getting the linebacker up there, then he's resetting. I guess in a perfect world, that it would have actually been the tight end here getting that defensive tackle so that Cushy didn't have to go backside. We saw that earlier on one of the play side runs. But overall, just a nice job of those two kind of creating that wall there. We didn't have a great block on the front side on what could have been a huge play, but I thought this was a solid job from Kushi on the backside. All right, now we're going to look at some more down block type plays. So still you are left tackle here. And this first one is more of a zone type run. But still, the idea here, he's looking to wash this defender down like a down block. And you can see just how much movement is created there, right? This defender is starting, you know, 3-4 yards to the right of the hash mark as we're looking here. And if you watch where he finishes, right, we're now more than that on the other side. So we're looking at, 8-10 yards of movement horizontally on a down block, and that's, more than adequate. And kind of the same idea here. Again, more of a zone run. This is a, inside zone to the right, but because of where this defender is in that leverage, he wants to go to the inside. So Kushi is just going to continue that down block and wash him through, right? And maybe not quite as much movement on this one. Maybe we'd like to see Kushi a little bit lower, right? Looking at where his shoulder pad level is compared to the defender, could probably clean that up some, but still great movement on that play. Another one here, again, same idea. This is, it's backside of zone, but because it's inside zone, and we're getting the cutback there, right? You can just see the movement once again. Contact is made right at the hash mark here. A little bit high, right? But just because of his size and his leg drive is, moving him 5 yards inside of that hash mark. And then more of a true counter type play here, right? And on this one, you can see that, on this one, he helps out maybe a little bit too much, right? Would like to see Kushi just kind of spill that guy over for 51 and be able to climb to this linebacker, but he commits a little bit too much and is a little late being able to slide back off, right? So not a perfect player, but a ton of stuff to like here. And then final one on the run game side of things. So this is a crack toss, and I shared this one on Twitter, and this is Kushi just getting out in space and running, right? Running that alley, finding that target, and knowing that he's in a good position, he can just run through that and gets a pancake there at the end, and then finishes him off a second time. And then last thing we'll look at for Kushi here is just some pass blocking reps, and you can see that he's very comfortable in pass protection, similar to Patrick Paul, has a lot of natural strength, right? Even though that defender is getting his left arm into Kushi on this pass rush rep, right? That's not ideal, but Kushi has enough size that he's able to, kind of stymie that bull rush. Here, just a nice job mirroring, right? He's nice and patient in that set. He's not, you know, bailing out to this outside defender because he knows that even if this guy gets a running start, he's got that anchor that he can handle it. So he's able to be patient and not jump out there. He sees that nothing's happening, and he's able to adjust back inside and then mirror the defender. Good job here picking up a stunt, right? So nice kick slide, but still very balanced, not kicking out too quickly. Sees that cross to the inside, right? And usually something's coming back to the outside. Does a good job of, passing that off, staying with it long enough for his left guard to get the penetrator, right? And then he's able to slide off, get the looper, and, kind of close to the quarterback there, but, still doing a good job of just staying under control there. And you can see that the trust the quarterback has there, right? Still very comfortable in his throw, right? To be able to get that out of there. And then last one here, facing you now. And this is just kind of handling a speed rush. And this isn't the best speed rush, but you can see that even though he's not, flying out there on the kick step, right? He's still under enough control that he's able to stay with that and just keep him nice and wide. All right, so you can see a lot of good technique there, especially in the lower half for Cushy, and that's a huge part of acclimating to the Dolphin style of offense. Still a few things to clean up a little bit, especially the pad level, which isn't uncommon for somebody that's 6'7". He was not dominant against the competition that Western Michigan played, but I'd say that he was above average against them, and he'll have an opportunity in training camp to show whether that can translate against NFL defenders or not. And as an older player, his margin for error is probably a little less than a younger offensive lineman with upside. And I could see a situation where he's the last man in the room type swing tackle, or maybe gets a year to develop on the practice squad. But as much as I do like Cushy, if he doesn't show some early promise in training camp, his age could be a limiting factor in how much the team is willing to invest in him.